Evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Andy Hanson. I'm sitting in for Mr. Dan Anderson and me here, who are both in independent meetings and can't come out. So, my pleasure to be with you. Hope you've got your pad and pen ready to take down any notes. And of course, if you have questions, feel free to contact team support after the webinar, and they'll be more than happy to help you. So today's agenda, we're going to be looking at field events that have been going on all over the place. We're going to have a little bit of a focus on Africa and what's been going on there. Also looking at Guadeloupe and the birthday celebrations that they've just had there over the weekend. I've got an incentive update for you. We're going to talk about the Maldives 2020 and then obviously our call to action for the week. So let's firstly look at the events that have been going on. There's been events all over the world, but here we're looking in China, where there was an event organized by the leaders to actually talk about the incentives for the members, the Leo products for the members and customers, and to actually talk about actively encouraging more members to qualify for the 2020 Global Annual Conference in the Maldives, which is going to be an amazing trip. We're going to talk about that more as we go through the slides. Great to see Hua and all the other leaders there in the top right-hand corner of the picture. And it's good to see that the leaders and the members are having their own meetings. They're not just waiting for Leo to put on meetings, because that's one of the things that makes network marketing work. And that is, as leaders, it's up to us to drive our independent businesses forward, which collectively helps the actual corporation move forward. So great news, and thank you to all the leaders that have done that meeting there. Then we go across to another meeting in China, which was in Shanghai. And I visited this office a couple of years ago, so I know it very, very well. This is a leader's office, so it's not a corporate office, but these are great training centers and a great place for members to get together for presentations, for training, for brainstorming, and all of those other things that need to go on to have a successful network marketing business. And here they're analyzing how you promote Leo and train the new members in the new ways of Leo and the new developments that we've had over the past few months, because there's been quite a few changes. And that's good, because changes means we're moving forward. And that's one of the important things with direct sales, that you have to understand that the business is always evolving, the business is always changing and changing its route to market, changing its products. And sometimes that can be very confusing. But in the direct sales business, there's a very, very common theme, and that is businesses that don't change and adapt to suit the marketplace very, very quickly die. And that's not something that's happening, or any of us want to happen to Leo, because Leo's moving forward in leaps and bounds, as you're going to see in the coming slides as we go through the presentation together. So hats off to all of the leaders in China. Keep up the great work. So now I just want to focus a little bit on Africa, because you've probably heard a lot about Africa in the past few weeks on webinars and different things you've seen with meetings and events going on. So I thought it'd be good for us to really take a little bit of an analysis of what's happened in Africa, how it's happened, talk about the leaders and the different things. And what you'll see here on the screen is that in Nigeria, it started really in Nigeria 12 months ago. And the first team event there was over 1,000 guests, which is big for a team meeting. Then we had a Leo directors tour. So by directors, I mean field directors, not corporate directors. And that was in the Ivory Coast, Gabon, Benin, and Cameroon. And there was 1,200 guests at those meetings, respectively. Then there was a live seminar in Cameroon with 500 guests, then one in the Ivory Coast for 500 guests. Then we had another director's tour for the Ivory Coast, Benin, and Cameroon with 1,100 guests. Then we had the South African team seminar, which happened at the beginning of this year, where Mihir and I went out to Johannesburg, and we had 3,500 guests at that event. And we've just had, and then there was a leaders meeting for 50. And we've just had, a few weekends ago, the South Africa live seminar, which was for all of Africa, but it was held in South Africa in Johannesburg. 5,000 guests, would you believe? Biggest event that the company's ever staged. An amazing day, and we're going to look at that in a bit more detail. And then we had the South Africa VIP training session and dinner for 300 of the VIP ticket holders. So what you'll see there is, in a period of 12 months, you can see the growth, 1,000 to 5,000 at a meeting. And network marketing is one of those strange models, if you like, in business, that it's all about how many people we get to meetings. And if you're looking to create momentum and growth, what you really want to be looking at is how many people you can get along to live seminars. And after all, it's in their package. Even if they have a basic package, they've got one live seminar ticket. And getting them in front of the rest of the team, getting them in front of the trainers and the speakers, getting them to see the bigger picture, because it's very difficult if you're sat at home with your laptop to really grasp the size of this and to really understand how Leo can make such a big difference to you and your family and your loved ones. But when you go to a big live seminar like the one we've just had in South Africa, you hear stories from the leaders on stage. You hear about what they've been through to get to where they're at, what they've achieved, how they've achieved it. And this gives us a lot of good attitude. It gives us a lot of motivation to be able to go out there and do it ourselves. So I urge each and every one of you with live seminar tickets to use those live seminar tickets. I mean, at the end of the day, you've paid for them. They're part of your product pack. You may as well use them and go to an event, so it will help you see the bigger picture. And this isn't something that's unique to Leo. I've seen this in all direct marketing businesses over the years, that the ones that can put a lot of people into a room all around the world are the ones that grow. And the ones that don't grow. And in the direct sales business, if you're not growing, you're really going out of business, because it's something that should be growing and should be marketing. I was chatting with Jeff just before we came on to this call, and it's very, very interesting because, you know, sign-ups and new members is up. We're seeing the numbers going up and going up and going up. And that's a great sign. Now the key is to be able to train all of those new members in how to effectively develop their business in the right way, how to create a sustainable business so they have a residual passive income, because it's very, very easy to make it in network marketing. It's not as easy to make it and to stay there. And that's all about planning. That's about ethics. That's about how you build your business. And obviously, each and every one of you want to develop a business that's going to give you a passive ongoing income. You don't want it to go to a peak and then collapse back down. And that comes down to education. And it comes down to training. You know, Leo, learn, earn, own. And we have to be, as leaders, trainers and educators, to help our new members understand how they develop their business, the right way to develop their business, and how they use the products and the goods and the services that they get within their own individual packages. So that's down to you and I. Now, if we look at the next slide, what you'll see there is the business development of South Africa. So very, very interesting. In a very short period of time, we've seen over 17,000 bronzes, over 5,000 silvers, over 2,000 golds, and then 1,000 platinums, 224 associates, 79 senior associates, 38 coordinators, 22 executives, 6 senior executives, directors 3, and then marketing directors 2. That's very, very impressive. And what it shows is that the foundation in South Africa is solid. It's building in the right way. And there's stuff to do. There always is, because we're constantly educating and re-educating. But when you see the numbers like this on rank advancements, you can see that the core elements of what needs to make a market work are now in place. And there's lots of different people that we need to really thank for that. And I'm going to sort of highlight some of them as we go through the slides. So let's look at the incentives. How has South Africa in particularly, or Africa as a region, coped with our incentives? How have they embraced them? How have they worked with them? Well, 36 African leaders qualified for Brazil 2019. Now, they had a very short period of time to do it in, because it was a relatively new market. 18 of them qualified to go on the executive trip in Cambodia, which we're going on in a couple of weeks' time. That's absolutely amazing. That's happened in such a short period of time. And 1,531 of them have qualified for Momentum 2019, which is absolutely outstanding. And again, that shows that the incentives that Leo has put into the marketplace have landed, are working, and the leaders and members in that particular region are working those incentives to their advantage. Because earning through network marketing is great, but it's the free things that I think really motivate the vast majority of us. You know, if you can go on a free lifestyle trip to Cambodia or Dubai or Hong Kong or the Maldives or Brazil, that's really the icing on the cake. And we live in an age where network marketers, professional network marketers, see the compensation plan as something that's, if you like, a right. If they do the work, they get paid. It's the other things like the trips, like the free gifts, like the double RP incentives and things like that, that they see as the icing on the cake. So Dan and me here on the board are always talking about how they ensure that they're putting into the marketplace things that are going to enthuse each and every one of you to take that extra step beyond just looking at the compensation plan as the be all and end all. So I was talking about the leaders in Africa generally and South Africa. And there's a few that we've really got to talk about, particularly from the Mega Live seminar we did there. So, you know, our first marketing director, or one of our first marketing directors there, one of two, you know, this lady has worked tirelessly under the leadership of Ash and Charlie, who's their upline here in the United Kingdom, who most of you will know, and again, worked tirelessly with that marketplace and has developed a business that it's a great foundation. Is it finished? No, of course it's not. The foundation's done, and now we're looking to build that great building above it, if you will, that actual business that leads into hundreds of thousands, if not millions of members in her team around the world. The next leader that we're looking at is another marketing director, Tembi, and a lot of you may have heard of Tembi. You may have seen some of her posts online, but again, a dynamic lady, a lady who has really grabbed Leo and is running with Leo. Gave a great speech, as did the other marketing director when we were in South Africa. And, you know, make no bones about it, guys, network marketing is about leadership. And if you want a big, solid, secure, passive income, and you want a business that's sustainable and is inheritable by your loved ones, you have to become a leader. And that's why we're going to put a lot more focus on leadership training over the coming weeks, months, and years as we work with each and every one of you and ensure that you're armed with the things that you need to be able to do what these two lovely ladies have done in South Africa. And it's only the start for them. This is a journey for them, and they know they're just on the first sort of little piece of that journey. They've got a long, long way to go, and their business is going to be a lot, lot bigger. So hats off to both of them. And then we look at our directors there. Shoki, you know, an amazing lady, amazing story. You can see there Ash in the picture with me here, myself, and Paul Southworth. And you see these ladies that are really developing their businesses very, very quickly and relatively new to the business. And in some cases, they're new to network marketing as well. But this is a strong sign of leadership and a strong side of their desire and their wants of wanting to develop a business because they get it. They get what Leo is. They get that through education and all of the associated elements to our business, they have the opportunity to do something quite unique. And it's good to recognize them on stage and to see them with those checks and how they're developing as individuals. And then another of our director ladies there and her 15-year-old son you'll see in the picture. It was great to spend time with them and to chat, and at the VIP dinner chat as well, to hear about a lady who had a few jobs as a waitress to make ends meet. And her 15-year-old son was so proud to see his mum being recognized for what she's done. And this lady, I would predict, is going to end up being one of Leo's trainers. You're going to see a lot more of this lady as she joined the team and train around the world and help other people's teams, not just her own, because she's got a real strong desire to be able to develop as a public speaker and work in the environment that we're all used to with our live seminars, etc. And that's something you can do too. And if you've had a desire to become a professional speaker and to train, then you just reach out to us and let's have a chat and put a game plan together. But I'm certain that this lady will become a mainstay as regards speaking and training as we move forward in the business together. And then lastly, we have a couple, and this is great to see because in network marketing, it's very difficult to build it if you're in a relationship on your own. You know, if you've got a significant other, a husband or a wife, for you to be going off building Leo on your own and then staying at home is really tough. It's a lot better if you both do it together. And here we see Stanley and Sabiso that work together to develop their business. Lovely couple. And I've seen great success from working very, very hard. And again, it's early days for them. You know, we look at the timeline of Leo and how long Leo's been around, how long it's been around in the market. They're really, really new, but they're breaking records because they're leading from the front, they're training, they're developing, and most importantly, they're duplicating the things that need to be duplicated within their team. Now, Africa in general is a very, very exciting market, and it was identified by the company mid last year as being one of the breakout markets for 2019, and the company's been proven to be right. It's got a population of around 1.2 billion people. There's 54 countries in total that make up the African continent. And what's very, very interesting is that 1%, just 1% of the worldwide direct selling association's figures come from Africa. Now, this shows you that Africa is a new emerging market. And with any new emerging market, you get amazing opportunity. You get a tremendous ability to be able to take an ethical company like Leo and develop it very, very quickly in the marketplace, particularly when you see that education is something that lands in that continent. Because would you believe, ladies and gentlemen, there's over 66 million children in the continent of Africa who don't have access to an education. So along comes this English company with an education platform, with a whole agenda around education, like opening schools and all the other things that the company does. And you can see why you see this momentum suddenly start to happen. And yet we haven't begun. Because if 1% of the worldwide direct selling association's figures comes out of Africa, we could argue that Leo could look for 1% of the population to be part of the Leo community, which means that we would need millions of members in the continent of Africa. And we don't have that at this point. We have tens of thousands. And it is amazing what's been done. I guess what I'm really saying to all of you, wherever you are in the world, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Sweden, the UK, America, wherever your home is, Africa should be a target market for you. And it doesn't take much work to go through your list and to find people that have heritage or roots within Africa, or people you know who know people that do. And I would think that all of you should really be looking for ways that you can take your business as it is now and expand into Africa, because it's going to be a runaway success in 2019. And you can be part of that. You can see from the audience size on this slide, I mean, this is, by anybody's stretch of the imagination, a very large live seminar, over 5,000 people. You know, and in the seminar business, that puts us up there in the top 5% of seminar producers, because you've got to go to people like Tony Robbins before you start seeing audiences of this size or bigger. And yet here's Leo, a 8-year-old company from the United Kingdom, putting on seminars in South Africa and attracting 5,000 plus people. This is positive reinforcement that we're on the right path. This is positive reinforcement that Leo is offering relevant and applicable products into the marketplace. And it's also a positive enforcement that you too can do this. You can develop your business into Africa as any other country in the world that we trade in. And you can have a global business that's working for you 24 hours a day, but you're going to have to lead. You're going to have to learn the basics and then lead with the basics in your team and keep your team on track to actually duplicate those basics. It was great to see Paul Southworth speaking at the event and talking about his decades and decades and decades of experience in direct sales, because he's seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he chooses to be on a Leo stage because he knows it's good. To listen to me here talking about the future of the company and talking about Leo Coin and all the developments that have been happening there as well. This is the right time for you to really put your foot on the gas and supercharge your own business. Don't sit back and wait, because nothing comes to people that wait. You know, there's an old Chinese saying that a man who stands with his mouth open waiting for a duck to fly in it will be hungry for a very long time. We have to see the opportunity, seize the opportunity, and then run with that opportunity. Yes, there's hurdles. Yes, there's going to be things that we don't understand or we maybe don't even agree with. But you have to understand, in business, it's never perfect. The greatest businesses in the world are not perfect. There is no perfect business. Company will make mistakes, you'll make mistakes, and that's not important. What's as important is how you react to the mistake and that you learn from those mistakes. You can see on the next slide the members' excitement when Paul told them that the company had just applied for DSA membership in South Africa and was looking to secure offices in South Africa to service the whole of the African region. You know, this is a country where they've had a lot of companies come and go, and Leo's here to stay. So it's gone into the country properly. It's talking to the regulators and the officials like the DSA and the government. It's setting up companies, it's setting up bank accounts, it's setting up offices. It does this because it wants to do the right thing. The next stage in Africa, I'm sure, will be the identification of a location and then the building of a school. because in markets where we're growing and expanding, we need to support the local community and make some headway into all of those children that don't get an education, as well as doing it in other countries where we really don't have any business interest. So I'm sure you know. They'll be opening the next school on Leo's list in Cambodia in a couple of weeks' time. But I'm almost certain the next one will be in Africa somewhere, because it makes sense for us to do it there and to start putting back into the local community. So let's take a look at the 54 countries, or the top 10, because you may be wondering, well, where do I look to expand? Well, here's the top 10 of countries of the the African countries. South Africa, Swaziland, Morocco, Cameroon, Zambia, Nigeria, Lesotho, Uganda, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. They're all countries that sit in the top 20 of Leo's list as regards sales this year. There's a lot of other countries that are in the top 100 for sure. But if you're looking for areas to expand into, these are obvious targets along with any other country within the region. Just remember to do your research, speak to your upline, ensure you're going to have the support structure in place to support your members, and get yourself into Africa and start help to develop in the market there. And we've already seen that with a few leaders I want to mention. We've seen it with Ash and Charlie here in the United Kingdom, who are pretty much responsible for the business in South Africa, for the vast majority of it. We've seen it with Amir Balas, where his team in Nigeria and more in the northern area of Africa, and he's based here in the United Kingdom. We've seen it with Rachel Davies from the Philippines. So she's come in from the Philippines and has a team growing in the south and the north of Africa. So in Cape Town, Johannesburg, and now also in the north. And then we have other leaders that have helped with the growth in Nigeria. Mr. Alex, we've got Miss Nagzoe, Mr. Swim, Miss Lulu. There's a lot of people there that have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to develop the market in Nigeria and the surrounding countries. And they're all doing it because they get Leo. They get it somewhere where you can finally do the work once. And if you do it right, create a passive residual income whilst at the same time doing good work. You know, Leo isn't an investment. It's not something where you stick in a couple of grand, sit and do nothing for 3 months and then pull out 12 grand. That's not, if that's what you're looking for, Leo's not your home. Leo is about working hard on a 2 to 5 year plan, developing a business and helping other people achieve their goals. And if you do that, then your goals will become a reality too. But if you're only focused on your own return and not helping anybody else, you may get some success, but it won't be a sustained success. It won't be success that you'll be able to look back in 5 to 10 years' time and say, wow, what a great thing that I did. Africa really is a place that all of you should be taking your attention to. So now let's look at Guadeloupe, because we've been talking about a big market, you know, over 1 billion people with a massive potential. You know, just with 1% of the market, we'd be looking, you know, close to 10 million members and customers there, which is almost inconceivable. But it's a reality that is achievable because other companies, the big companies like, you know, Amways and New Avons, etc., have already done this there. We're new. We're the new kid on the block there. We've got a new dynamic way of doing business. We've got a new product set, which is different. We help with diversification of wealth, and that gives us an edge over those physical pills, potions, and lotions companies. And they're great companies, and they will remain to be great companies. But you're working with a company that's very dynamic, it's very disruptive. So let's go to the other end. We start looking at somewhere like Guadeloupe, which is, compared to Africa, a tiny market. And yet, Guadeloupe's just celebrated its 3rd birthday with Isabel and Patrice and Jean-Michel and all the leaders there. They've had a great couple of training days and leadership meetings. They've had a dinner. They've had a party together to celebrate 3 years of Leo being there. And yet, in such a small little country in the Caribbean down there, they've developed an amazing business. So the opportunity really is anywhere. It's in your own backyard as well as in Africa or wherever else that you'd like to turn your attention to. And you see down on the screen there, going in live to chat with the guys. This is great because we don't want a business that just grows in a massive continent. We want a business that can be actually launched and run successfully by leaders and members in any country, anywhere in the world. And you can see some of the training here on the next slide. And Patrice, there's Jean-Michel. and the leaders in their auditoriums, they're doing training and they're talking about their experiences. They're sharing their experiences. They're sharing what works and what doesn't work. And that's what networking is about. It's about communicating. It's about sharing with each other how we can develop this thing called Leo together. And that works within the membership. That also works within the membership and the company as well. So it's not a them and us. We work together. And the leadership here at Leo listens to what the leaders in the field are saying and reacts accordingly. And that's a great thing. Because some of the network marketing companies in the world, especially the big ones, it's really their way or the highway. There is no input from the membership. But Leo's young enough and agile enough to be able to listen to its members and to be able to react to that in an appropriate fashion. And it's just great to see so many happy, smiley faces of people that are developing their business, not just in Guadeloupe. These businesses spread from Guadeloupe all around the world. And I know that the Guadeloupe team have members that are in Mauritius. They have members that are all over the planet. South America, North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, because again, they're a team that spread their wings. They're not limited by their thoughts or limited by the size of the country that they live in. They see Leo as a global opportunity. Now, I was speaking to Jean-Michel earlier today and he said, "Where are you?" He said, "I'll be back in Paris tomorrow." I'd never know where he is in the world because he's always somewhere supporting his team. And that's what true leadership is about. And I'm glad that the guys had a great weekend and a great celebration. And we just look for continued success from these guys as they develop out of Guadeloupe all across the Caribbean, America, and beyond. Now let's look at the ownership points incentive. And we're going to be doing training on this over the coming weeks as well. I think the vast majority of you have got it. You understand what ownership is and the ownership points, but there's never any harm in repeating the message to ensure that everybody definitely gets it. And that's something you need to do as a leader with your team. You know, it's like telling children. When you're teaching your children right from wrong and good and bad, you have to repeat things over and over and over again. It's like with marketing. And you look at ads, people have to see an ad 12 to 13 times before they actually react to the ad. It's no different to us as leaders in network marketing. We're coaching, we're motivating, we're guiding our teams, and we pretty much have to repeat the message 12 to 13 times to get it across. And that's the same for the company, it's the same for you. So the incentive for bronze, silver, gold, and platinum for the ownership points will half on the 13th of June. So the current reward that's there is an enhanced reward. It's an amazing reward, but it will half on the 14th of June and go back to where it should be. So that's a good message when you're now talking to prospects, talking to your teams and everybody else in between, to let them know the incentive will end on the 14th of June. So if you've got people that are thinking about it, they've not quite crossed the line yet, they're considering it, then you can use that to say, look, at the 14th of June, the reward will half. So, you know, if you're going to do it, I'd do it now. And these are important. And it's important dates for you guys to know and make sure your team know, because incentives are what they say. They're incentives. They're not part of the comp plan. They're not there forever. They're there to do a particular thing at a particular time, and we all need to put that date in our diary, 14th of June, because we want someone joining on the 15th of June and getting all upset because they get half of what they thought they were going to get. This is all about us knowing what's going on and when things will change. Now the Global Annual Conference in the Maldives 2020. So simple. Just introduce a new member between the 25th of March and the 31st of July. Help them get to associate in that time, and you're going to the Maldives for an all expenses trip of a lifetime in one of the most luxurious areas of the world, which, to be honest, probably won't be there for a lot of you younger guys that are on the call today. For me and Jeff, I'm sure it will be there for our lifetime, but it's something that will disappear. With global warming and all the other things, the Maldives will disappear under the sea to be lost forever at some point in the coming years. So you've got the opportunity to go to somewhere which is like heaven on earth, absolute paradise, and spend time rubbing shoulders with other leaders and networkers from around the world, meeting the corporate team, learning, being educated, being more inspired, and seeing the bigger vision of what Leo is about. But time's running out, guys, because we're now in June. We've only got to the 31st of July, and you can earn as many tickets as you like by helping as many people as you like get to the rank of associate within that time frame. More information on it, do visit the website at maldives2020.learnearnown.com. There's only 180 rooms left now. So you can see this has been a tremendously popular incentive already. So if you're thinking about it, let's stop thinking about it, set a goal, commit to be there, and do the work that's necessary to be there. And as Zig Ziglar has always said, you can have anything you want in life if you help other people get what they want. And that's what this is about. Help a new person to reach the rank of associate, and you're rewarded with a trip of a lifetime to the Maldives. It's so simple. And it's a great deal. It's a great offer. This trip would cost you thousands and thousands of pounds if you paid for it yourself. Why pay when you can go for free? Free is always better than having to pay. So make that commitment to join us there. Make sure you get as many of your team as possible to make that commitment to join us there, so you can be there with your team in paradise and then springboard your business in 2020 with the information and releases that will be revealed to you then. Now some logistics and operational stuff. Office closures, because Ramadan continues to the 3rd of June. So the Dubai office and Karachi office will be closed between the 3rd and 6th of June for Eid. And they've also got restricted opening times, which you can see on the screen there outside of that. 3rd to the 7th of June, then the Turkey office will be closed. 7th of June, the China office will be closed. On the 7th of June, the Hong Kong office will be closed. So there's a lot of offices being closed for different holidays and celebrations, etc., over the course of June. So please make sure, if you're planning to go to the office, that you check it's going to be open on the day you're going. We don't want anyone being disappointed. You know, these are religious holidays in some cases, and obviously we respect those across the world, and we want you to respect those too. So the call to action is very simple. Take advantage of the bronze, silver, gold incentive before the 14th of June. Qualify for the Global Annual Conference in 2020 in the Maldives. And there's big reasons why you should. And just trust Andy. You need to be in the Maldives. Make the commitment. Plan your work. Work your plan. Do whatever it takes to be there. And as regards Africa, then I would definitely look to get your business into Africa, either personally or through your team. Have a call with your team, find out who's got contacts in any of the countries in Africa, and then start riding this wave of momentum, because the momentum out of Africa will spread. It will come out of Africa, it will start spreading around other countries and other places. You know, Leo's going through another wave of momentum and growth. I think it's probably the 3rd or 4th wave. And that's a common thing in network marketing. You see waves of growth, then you see a stability, then you see another wave of growth, then you see stability. And this is all part of Leo as a company growing from being a baby to a toddler, and now, would I say, going into its teenage years. You be a part of that, but to be part of it, you need to be plugged in. Be plugged into your upline, be plugged into the company, come onto the webinars like this, and I'm telling you this, and you're here. You know, the thing is, the guys that need to be on here who aren't on here need to hear that message, and they can hear that through you or through the emails that Jeff sends out. We need to get our communication going quicker and more smoothly between the field and the corporation and vice versa. You know, we can't let it take 2 weeks for a message as important as the end of an incentive to get out to the field. Get the message out, get your teams onto the webinars and reading their emails from the company, etc., etc. All about leadership. Leo offers you a unique opportunity. Your key to it is to recognize that it is that unique opportunity and to run with the opportunity. You know, Richard Branson said if he had to start his career all over again, he'd probably engage in network marketing. And the interviewer asked him, well, do you know anything about network marketing? He said, no, I'd make the decision to do it, and then I'd learn what I needed to learn to be successful. That is such a great way to look at network marketing. Make the decision to be a success at it, and then learn how to be that success. That's why it's learn, earn, own. And if you buy that idea, ladies and gentlemen, I'll guarantee you one thing. I won't see you at the top. I'll see each and every one of you over the top. Thanks for your time. Take care, and I'll speak to you real soon.